So welcome back everyone, Mike here. Just got home from work a few minutes ago and came down here to the Renewable Energy Processing Center to cut a little bit of firewood. Because tomorrow morning, bright and early, like 6 a.m., we have a few friends coming over. They're early risers like Melissa and I are, and they want to help split some firewood. So since I'm going to have some free labor, I mean, I may have to buy them breakfast, but I want to get as many firewood rounds stacked up and ready to go so we can get a whole bunch split in the morning. Which kind of leads me to the topic of today's video. Some people still kind of question the way I do things around here and say, I'm wasting too much time, I should do this or I need to do that. And believe me, it doesn't bother me. This isn't a rant by any means. Some people are nasty, I just ignore them. But the majority of the people truly kind of question how I do things and why I do things the way I do. So I want to read a comment to you last night that I got just the other day, and then I'll kind of explain how and why I do things. It doesn't bother me at all. If you have a YouTube channel, you get criticized by a lot of people, and it's just the nature of the beast. But I do believe there's some people that honestly don't understand how or why I do things, and I kind of look at it as that's on me, because I must not be doing a good enough job explaining it in the videos. So let me read this comment and we'll kind of go over how I do things and why I do things. Someone says, let's see, what's the name? Molly GSP says, curious why you handle your firewood so much. Seems very inefficient. Been watching for a while and I noticed this. 1, cut down tree. Haul log to pile. 3, pick up logs or separate for safer sawing. 4, saw logs into blocks. 5, pick up blocks and stack and pile. 6, take blocks off. 7, split blocks. 8, throw blocks on ground. 9, pick up blocks and stack in tote or load in trailer. 10, move totes to staging area or unload. And they go on and on. And I think if you just kind of pop in a video, that may kind of seem the way it is. But in reality, like this wood right here that I'm cutting right now and I'm putting on that pile, that is the first that I've actually touched this wood by hand. Everything else is done with machine to get it up to this point. And a lot of people will say, why don't you just cut it and then split it right where, right where you fell a tree and then bring it up and stack it. And that's not a bad idea, but I like to kind of work kind of like an assembly line kind of thing. I like to do one thing at a time. And the reason I do that is, like if you noticed a couple of the videos this past week, I get home from work, I got maybe an hour and a half to get something done. Well, if I got a whole bunch of firewood poles down there and it's dry that evening, I can bring a whole load up, 5 or 6 loads in the grapple on the tractor, and it's up here in the yard. Now, if I were to drag a log splitter down there, split the wood, I'd have an hour and a half and just getting everything in place to do that. So I work in little bits and pieces, and that's as time allows. That's how I do things. But we'll get back into this here in a little bit. I want to get some more wood here cut up, stacked up, and I'll explain to you how and why I do things the way I do, and a lesson that I learned a long time ago that has stuck with me. How's it going?
What your drink? You can have diet, lemonade, strawberry lemonade, or a Gatorade.
I don't have a Gatorade.
I knew that.
Thanks.
So a couple funny stories.
What?
We're dog sitting Annie, and she's just a tiny little dog. She comes with her own little tiny little dish, or tiny little dog food. And I put a little glass, tiny little bowl out for her to drink her water. And our dogs are lined up to drink her water.
Really?
Out of her bowl.
Yeah, Annie's, she's a great little dog.
Another thing I'll tell your subscribers. We have lockers in our garage that we can lock things up from Hunter. Soda, chocolate, those are the main things. He knows that because somebody in the family goes about getting the hidden key and unlocking the locker, and he knew that it's kept in there. He doesn't know where the key is, thankfully. I'm not going to mention it. I found him in the garage with the Jeep key, trying to shove it in the lock. Okay, listen, if you can go to the Jeep, get the keys out, go to the locker and try to unlock it.
Yeah.
There's something missing here. You've had me fooled.
So Eva was at Kennywood today. It's an amusement park near Pittsburgh, and then she leaves tonight for girls camp.
No, just to camp.
Oh, just to camp. Who's camp?
Nicole's.
A friend of yours?
Yeah.
Where's it at?
Porters County. 3.5 hours away.
Oh boy.
Potters, isn't it?
Potters, I mean.
Potters.
Hey, why don't you explain to all the viewers that have 300-400 people watch that live video that
Oh yeah.
last night?
So last night, if you follow our Instagram, Eva went live on Instagram, and I wasn't home at first, and her and Melissa had tell them.
We did Just Dance, and we had about 100 viewers.
Really?
Yeah.
But they can still watch it, right?
Yeah, you can still watch after 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people were asking why I wasn't in on it.
He wasn't home.
That's when we started it.
He's not a huge dancer.
No.
Not yet, at least.
But it's on the app, on the TV.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if some people just thought that she was just dancing in front of it.
That too. Yeah.
All right, so Eva has a funny story to share from yesterday on the bus. Go ahead.
So, every year a 7th grade teacher does a salsa day with his science class, and they grow peppers and then they make salsa for an entire day. And the most spicy pepper that they would plant is a habanero pepper. And I got on the bus, and my friend, he was back in the back of the bus with his friends, and then another girl got on the bus, and she's like, my mouth is on fire, and then he comes up and he's crying and holding his ears, and apparently they both ate a habanero pepper, and they're freaking out and they can't breathe. And then the bus driver found out, so he had them both come up to the front of the bus, and then he called the school, because the girl couldn't breathe and she was breaking out in hives and her lips were getting puffy, and the kid was like,
no, the bus driver said, are you guys going to be all right?
Yeah, he's like, are you right? And the boy goes, he's like, I'm fine. She goes, I'm not fine. So then he waited for all the other buses to leave the school, and they pulled up to the front of the school, and then the principal and a security guard got on the bus, and they didn't really do much. They just asked where the peppers were, and then they asked if they were all right and if they needed milk or anything.
So the moral of the story is
don't eat habanero peppers. Especially on the school bus.
She told that story yesterday when she came home. I laughed so hard.
All right, almost got it cleaned up. These real big ones that are left here, they are really heavy. That's red oak that I've been mentioning.
Okay.
So we'll just leave them alone. I'll bring the tractor over with the grapple. Either just pick them up, move them over there, or carry them over or something.
Okay, good.
So all I got left is cut that big one up right there.
Okay.
So you gonna head up now?
Yeah.
What's for dinner?
Good question. It's up to you. Whatever you order.
Oh, whatever I order. All right.
Give me a choice, and then.
All right, we'll talk about it. I won't be long.
All right.
Thanks for your help. Take a little break here before I cut this last one up. But anyway, at the beginning of this video, I was talking about how some people question how I do things around here, and it's inefficient, it wastes time. And I said I like to do things kind of like an assembly line fashion. And years ago, if you've been following our channel for a while, I've mentioned before, I was a blaster. I blew things up for a living. Mostly heavy highway projects, some quarry, some strip mine, things like that. But mostly blasting on big highway projects all around the east here. And anyway, the company that I worked for, they could move dirt. They really could. They were real good at dirt moving. Finish grade, not so much, but as far as moving bulk dirt, there wasn't too many companies much better than them. So anyway, one time we had this big job, and you're awarded these big contracts through the state or the turnpike or whatever. And we got one section, and one of our competitors got the section right beside us. And each job was pretty close in size. They were around 3.5 million yards of material to move on both jobs. and we both started at the same time. Well, our company, like I said, they were really good at moving dirt. Been doing it for like 80 years or something like that. We had big 777 rock trucks, you know, they're 100-ton trucks. We had Cat 5130 excavators. They have like 14-yard buckets on it. Tons of equipment, good operators that stuck with the company, and it was all good. But anyway, both jobs started about the same time. And the other company, you know, they just tear right into it. It's like a matter of 3 or 4 days, and they're moving dirt. You know, you have a big cut, and you might have to haul it to a mile or something to this big fill area. And within a week or two, they're moving dirt. And all they did, they kind of bumped in some haul roads, you know, stripped the topsoil off, and kind of got the roads in decent shape, and they started hauling. Well, the company I worked for, what they always did, we would spend weeks, sometimes a month and a half, maybe longer. And we'd get in there, strip the topsoil off, and would dig some material out. You get down to rock, we'd drill and shoot that rock, and then would haul all that rock, and would basically build a haul road from where we're cutting the whole way to the fill out of real good rock. You know, I mean, it'd be 5-6 feet thick. And then when we'd get hauling, we had a big Cat 16 grader on the haul road. And the whole time we're doing all this work, just getting ready to haul material. This other company, they're just moving right along. You know what I mean? They're kind of looking at us like, one of those guys are going to get started over there. Well, this was like early fall that these jobs started. And the next thing you know, it starts raining a little bit, you know. And the other company there had rained, they got rained out because their haul road, you know, it just wasn't in very good shape. It didn't have a good base of rock. They didn't take the time to build a good road. So they wouldn't be able to work that day. Well, we just kind of kept on keeping on, you know what I mean? We're moving rock. And the other problem was every time it would rain, they'd have to skin off all that mud on top of their road. They have these huge windrows of mud, and then you'd have to get rid of that mud to waste areas, or you'd have to lay it out, hope for sunshine and some wind to dry it out before you could put it in the fill. And after about 3 months of moving dirt, it was pretty apparent we were already way ahead of them. And by the end of the job, we finished moving our 3.5 million yards by probably, oh heck, 4 or 5 months before they did. And, you know, had everything on grade. And that has stuck with me. I know it's kind of a weird story relating it to firewood, but it's not just firewood. It's kind of how I do everything. Now, if you got just a little project, just tear into it and get it done. But if you're kind of into it for the long haul, what I like to do is get things set up the way I want, and it works out better that way for me. I don't know. People are asking, you know, why I don't take my log splitter out in the woods and cut some wood and split it and bring it up here to the yard and stack it, and I'd be done with it. I would be, but it would be hardly any wood at all. And like I say, I work in little increments. I work whenever I have time. Work a real job with tons of stuff to do around here. I may be on a mower for a little bit, go out and just grab some wood with a grapple on the tractor and get it up here to the yard. And it works really well. It does. I want to show you something here, just kind of tinkering around this past week, what we were able to accomplish. So about a week ago, we had just a little bit of firewood up here ready to split. And over the last several days, you know, in between the rain, every night when I got home from work, I mowed some, but I'd come down here, carry some poles out of the woods, cut them up, and just kind of pick away at a little bit. And here we are at the end of the week, and we got a pretty nice jag of firewood here ready to split tomorrow. And that's the way I like to do things. I hate tripping and falling and stepping over stuff. You know, a lot of people say as soon as I cut it, split it, you just have a mess everywhere. So what we're going to do in the morning, I'll bring that Wolfe ridge down here, set it up right there. The log lift will be on that side over there where those big rounds are. Big ones they can roll on. We'll have someone loading it on that side. I'll be on this side splitting. We'll fill a couple baskets, throw the rest in a pile here beside me. And I'm also going to get a firewood bucket for the RK55. I'm looking for one of them right now. Some of this wood over here, I have people just come load this up. This is next year's wood. This isn't this year's wood. This oak will take, it won't be ready this year. They'll load it up. Some of it I may stack, not much. Most of it will be gone. But that's the plan. That's kind of how I like to do things. And so if you just kind of pop in on a video and see something, it's kind of hard to get the whole picture. So that's the reason I'm explaining this tonight. But anyway, it's going to get dark. I'm going to whack up that last piece. I have the grapple on the RK37. Maybe just push these out of the way or pick them up and move them over to there. And we will be all good to go for the sunrise split tomorrow morning. But anyway, I hope I kind of better explained how and why I do things around here. Everybody does things a little bit differently. For me, I kind of like to do things in an assembly line fashion. Do one thing, then the next, then the next, then have a finished product. Just seems to work for me, especially with my schedule. So, but that's about it. So anyway, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like button, click subscribe, and share them with your friends. Thanks.